Hello. Let me get rid of this. Hello. Hi, welcome everyone. Um, right, so it's Sunday Seeds again, and tonight's hmm, tonight's topic is a big one. It's really something that's unavoidable. Most of us, most of us go through grief and loss, and it is really quite interesting how we think we can prepare ourselves for loss. I remember that I was still in primary school when somebody came and told me that my father had a car accident, but he's fine and he's going to be okay. And so I was probably about 11 or 12. And I've been waiting for my father to die since I was 11 or 12. I always knew that alcohol would kill him. And so it was part of my whole thing of I have to learn not to care. And then he died. Much, much later, I was probably about 14, 15 years later. I think I was about 26 or 28 when he died. It was alcohol related, but it wasn't a car crash. And all was like, okay, fine. I saw this coming. And I didn't grieve. But I did because I went on a shopping spree, which is very abnormal for me. I don't normally go and shop myself better. So I bought silly, stupid outfits that I've never ever worn and had no interest in, and I've given it away fairly recently because it just made no sense. So I did something that was totally out of character, but while I was doing it, I was feeling better. And so we've got to pay attention to our patterns and what we do. So what I've then learned later in life is that, look, let me just tell you this. The most important thing that I have learned about trauma, shock, and loss have very luckily for me happened before I fell apart. And that was when my friend Janetta Barry's daughter committed suicide because I witnessed Janetta going through her loss mindfully. That's a hard one. That's just devastating. But how Janetta did it. First of all, she said to me straight out, Louise, I don't have time for you and your problems or anybody else's right now. I can only focus on getting through the day. And you know what? That was fine. First of all, if I'm a good friend, I'm going to allow her to be my friend in that way, and I'm going to be a better friend to her than parking my problems on top of her. The second thing is that I have to go then find my own strong roots and not use her for my roots, which is also totally fine. Or find another support system, which is also totally fine. Then the next thing that I learned was that you have to honor your grief. Now, all of us have to decide for ourselves what it means to honor your grief, but you would not have grief if you didn't lose something that was important to you. And if anybody or anything or any situation was important to you, it can be a job, it can be a beloved animal, it can be a parent, and it can be a relationship. You can still be in the relationship, but you can be losing your faith in it, your belief in it. So we have various different kinds of loss. And every single time we go through the loss, we have to stop for a moment and acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge it as long as it takes, because it's not going to go away by its own. And it is important, it really is important that we note this, that we cannot think that something that has been important to us for some time will just be like, I'm going to cry today and tomorrow I'm going to be fine. Because if you think that, you're honestly not honoring the person, the situation, the connection that was lost. Now take an instance of my father. I lost what I never had. I lost the relationship with him that I never had. While he was alive, there was still hope that some sort of way, maybe, we could repair it. He dies and it's gone. Never again. I can never go and ask him those questions. I can never actually say to him, look, this is who I really am. You don't even know me. You remember me from a 6-year-old who jumped on your chest, which is my one and only positive. No, I lie. I have a few more positive memories, but there are few. Yeah. Count them on one hand, memories. And I'm not that person. There's a whole person inside me that you don't even know. And boom, there's that chance gone. Janita taught me to honor your grief. And for me, it means that when my mother died, I lit a candle. I fell apart every time I talked about her. And I cried for months and months and months. But I didn't cry as in desperation. I didn't cry as in I will never be whole again, because I did it after I've done so much work on myself. But I already knew that inside of me there's a very strong core. There's a really strong core who is devastated at this moment. But there's so much in me. I have a safe place to go back to. I have joy to go back to. I have deep peace inside me to go back to. It does help. If you have been in an impossible situation, it helps if you have already learned to love and accept yourself unconditionally. If you haven't done it, I want you to reach out and start doing it as of today. Make that your biggest job in order to get through loss, because loss is unavoidable. You have to decide to love and accept yourself until you are happy inside yourself. Because if you love and accept yourself, you will get happy inside yourself, I promise you. So, honor your grief. What does it mean? When you feel it, feel it. If you have to go walk on the mountains, go walk on the mountains. If you have to go talk to somebody, go find somebody to talk to, and don't just talk to one person. Widen your circle of support. If you have to scream, go find a place where you can scream where they will not lock you up. If you have to take a knife and a pillow, and you have to hit that pillow with that knife until you see feathers everywhere, go do it. Doesn't matter. If you have to take up kickboxing or go buy a punch bag, which I promise you I did, I still have a punch bag. I don't need it anymore, but I have it. If you need to do that, because it's one of the stages of grief, it's anger, go be angry. Go hit it. Don't edit it out. It's part of it. If you have too much cortisol in your body, this is what it's going to look like. This is the one I really want to tell you about, because nobody tells us this. It makes you feel sick here. It's a big weight on you, and it makes you physically feel sick. Now, that's the reason why we go to the doctor and we get an antidepressant, and then we can't work through this. Which is, I'm not saying don't get help. It's just, please, in heaven's name, get natural help. Get yourself a doses of natural serotonin, or go get yourself. I will, if you want to know, I'll send you trade names, and I'll make recommendations of what you can do. But they are natural stuff which helps you to feel better. Because you have all this excess of cortisol in your body, which is, remember, you just had a fright or flight reaction, and every time when you get triggered by the death, the loss, the end of a relationship, the whatever it is that you just lost, the job that you've got fired from, whatever it is that you just lost, you lost a little bit of your worldview. You lost a little bit of your future, and you lost a connection. It's big. Whatever you do, don't run away from it. You have to go through it. And you will be having fight or flight reactions, which means huge amounts of cortisol being produced in your body the whole time. So How do you get rid of it? It is not that antidepressants that the doctor is going to give you. The doctor is going to say, let me give you something. It's going to be an antidepressant because there is no anti-sad pills. And again, I'm not saying don't take anything. If you have to take something, take it for the shortest time so you can get through the worst. But there is no anti-sad pill. And it's a very big difference to say, I'm sad and I am grieving, and to say I'm depressed. It's not the same thing. And sad and depressed should not get antidepressants as a way of life, shortest term, if you have to. Instead, what you have to do is get rid of that cortisol in you that's making you feel sick so that you can't even eat. Go and do something very physical. Not just walk in the woods. It's more like go chop a few trees down in the woods. That kind of intense physical reaction. Do something very intense and physical. Scrub the floors if you have to. Go work in your garden. Take a spade and dig something so that you can actually get the cortisol out. Sleep well. If you have to take sleeping pills, take them for short times. And then go off them again and go short time, so at least you have sleep, because sleep repairs your cortisol overload. Have fun. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but what you do is you have to have some laughter. Life goes on. This is not the end. You are still here. Go find yourself the funniest video, Netflix, whatever it is, and try not to laugh, because for me, it's impossible not to laugh if I watch The Thin Blue Line. It may be, but it's still going to be laughter. So, and then connect with people. You don't always need to talk about your loss the whole time, but just that connection with people. And here's another great one. Be creative. Remove the labels from your head. Don't say, I'm not creative. You were born creative. Every 3-year-old's creative. You were the same. Be creative. My best advice is go and do pottery if you can. Because I've been teaching pottery for so many years, and I know it just takes the stuff right out of you. It's like the clay sucks it up. Go and be creative. Don't judge yourself. Just go be creative with absolutely no expectations. Exercise, physical activity, sleep. Make sure you eat. Don't over-medicate. Above all, do not go into any kind of addiction, whether it's sleeping pills or cough medicine or anything heavier than that, because that glass of wine becomes 3 glasses of wine, and those 3 glasses of wine becomes 3 bottles of wine. And if you have an addictive personality, which simply means you drown your problems because you don't have coping mechanisms, you run away from your problems because you don't know how to go through it, then you are going to get addicted and have a new problem. You don't need that on top of your grief. And lastly, all I want to say to you is there is a shortcut. The shortcut is actually very, very simple. Your body is still going to feel it. You can't get away with it. The grief is still going to be there. It's going to hit you every time when you see that reminder face to face. But acceptance is your shortcut. Acceptance is your shortcut. And I know it sounds easy, but it's a way of living. It's a whole new way of living to say, there's this thing that I don't like. Tough shit. I don't have to like it, but I can't change it. Cannot change it, can you? You cannot change it. It's something that you can change. We're not talking about it today. We're talking about stuff that you have to accept. This is how it is. And you just have to say to yourself, I cannot change this. I cannot spend my energy on fighting this. I have to accept it. Acceptance is stage 5. You don't have to go through all the other stages over and over and over. Acceptance is the last stage. You can say to yourself, by talking like this out loud, I don't like this. I hate this. But I am going to accept it. Then I am going to accept that I, for the next 2 years, won't be able to say this person's name without crying. I won't be able to see this person without falling apart. I won't be able to talk about my cat without tearing up. I won't be able to see that person's car pass me by. I won't be able to see this memory without remembering the person that I lost. I won't be able without, but I'm accepting it. I'm accepting the fact that there's pain coming because that person, that experience was important to me. I honor it. I will honor it when it comes. I will not soak in it. I will not do it all day long. I will give it a time and a space. It will be a short time and a space. It will be an hour. It will be a half day. It will be 20 minutes. I will give it its time and space. I will not soak in it because I am still here and I need to find a way to carry on. I hope you can. Okay, let me see if there's any comments, any questions. Let me see if anybody's watching. See. Hi, Alex. Nice to see you. Hi. Wait, let me see. Let me see if I can say. Good. Wow. I don't know how to say it. I'm gonna say Joseph. Sorry. And that one, I think I'm murdering it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to add. If you know of somebody who's going through deep grief, please share it. And I hope that it helped you tonight. And like I said, please share this. People often silently go through the most enormous grief and just look okay. And we are often really not okay. And so even if you just suspect, please share. It's a big pleasure, Alex. Okay. Any questions out there? And remember, while you're watching, please go and give me a heart there at the top. Okay, if it's not a heart, I will live with a like. And please share, because you know what happens is that Facebook let more people see these, and somebody might just see it by accident because you have given it a comment or a like or you shared it. And so if you guys will please help me by getting more visibility so that I can help more people, I will really appreciate that. Okay. All right. So, so I am going to sign off, guys. If there's nothing else, if there's nobody else who wants to add anything, then I am going to sign off. Just double check here, make sure it's all good. Oh, let me go back. Hello, people. Here we go. Hi, Sandra. Big hug. Everybody who needs a big hug today, very big hug. Because, like I say, we often don't know that people need big hugs. And I'll take one back. Thank you all. All right. And then everybody remember, we are having a Tuesday live again this week because the summit is in its last. I hope you've all watched the summit, because it is the last little bit of the summit, and a few hours left. So I hope you've all watched it. And if you haven't, please go make sure, because I mean, it's just the most amazing remarks that I've been having from people about what the summit has meant to them and how much they've learned and how much their lives have been enriched by it. And, you know, there's new ways of looking at stuff. And a lot of these people had to go through deep trauma in order to get to the place where they are today. So go enjoy your last little bit of summit. And on Tuesday night, we'll have a live again, me and Antoinette. And then next week, the following week, there won't be a live because I'll have masterclass, a 3-part masterclass. And let me quickly just tell you about it, what it's going to be. It's going to be, the Tuesday night's going to be about shame, because shame just blocks us. It stops us from getting help, and it really limits our lives. And then we're going to, on Wednesday night, we're going to talk about why are we in deadbeat, sucky, unsatisfying relationships, or even just really challenging ones where we keep on having the same fights over and over, and or we keep on getting into new relationships and they're still sucky, and why we shouldn't just leave it. And then the Thursday night, the topic is going to be about conversations about communication, because most of us think that we know how to communicate, and most of us don't. Most of us mess it up completely. And when we learn to really communicate powerfully, then we change our life in all the ways, in each and every way. Relationships, work, opportunities, every single thing gets changed when we change our lives. So let me just go remove that comment there. Okay, that's good. And also what I'm going to do is, while I'm doing these masterclasses, is I am going to give you the chance to bring life experiences, because I'm pretty awesome with he said, she said, she said kind of conversations, to help you see your patterns so that you can change your patterns. So I'm going to give you some worksheets, and I'm going to give you some exercises, and I'm going to give you a whole lot of knowledge and ideas of how to do it better. But also you will have an opportunity to come and to talk to me and ask me, if I say this and this happens, and then if I say this, then that happens. And when you bring me that stuff, I'm going to help you go fix it in your real life. I promise you, it is the most awesome thing, and I love doing it, and it's very effective. So it will be a safe place for you, hopefully, because we just don't invite the whole world to come on with you, and it will be safe. And this is not going to be something that's going to be broadcast all over. It's only for people who are attending it. Okay, so I hope I'm going to see you guys there. And otherwise, Tuesday, I think it's about the same time, right here again. Okay, remember, go give me those hearts and likes and share. And lots of love to all of you. Thank you for coming. So appreciate you. Okay, it's all good.